Now let's bring the conversation home, where President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his commitment to media freedom and respect for diverse opinions during a meeting with the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria. Tinubu is considering the association's request to review policies affecting the paper industry, acknowledging concerns about newsprint regulations. State House correspondent Adesuwa Morwan reports.
Members of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria collectively meeting with President Bola Tinubu for the first time since his inauguration at the banquet of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. President of the association, Kabiru Yusuf, congratulates the president on his election victory. He raises concerns about the newspaper industry, stressing its role in democracy and as a source of reliable information.
We know you face the titanic challenge of reviving the Nigerian economy. But please consider some suggestions that relate to our own industry, but we also think will have multiplier effects. Number one is the inclusion of newsprint and other printing materials in the lists of goods and services exempted under the VAT Order 2020, which category includes books and educational materials.
In his response, Tinubu affirms his commitment to media freedom and openness to diverse opinions.
I thank all of you for what you've done for this country so far. You've held our feet as politicians to the fire, and we continue to respect your opinion, whether we agree or not in support. It's been a very rough ride, roller coaster of economic situation in the country. We've taken a bold decision, which you have all, one way or the other, criticized or support, and I thank you for the support, or have support, whichever way you did. One thing I must tell you is that I read every paper. I'm grateful to many of you. Without you, I would not be standing here as president.
Addressing concerns about policies affecting the paper industry, he assures a careful review, promising support.
That's why I have an experienced legislator as my chief of staff. We will review the law. The question of the paper mill, I believe, is that Nigeria should invest in the paper industry to produce what we need, what we can consume here, and what we can export.
He highlights his government's transparency, citing bold decisions and the need to prioritize the poor.
We will continue to reinvigorate the economy, re-engineer the economy, retool the economy. It is exceptionally necessary for us to really invest in infrastructure today, to invest in the healthcare of our people, to invest in education of our children today and tomorrow. It's a continuous exercise. That's what I've been doing. If we invest in our own children alone and not invest in the children of the poor, that investment will be in danger tomorrow. The children of neglect will attack your investment.
Minister of Information reaffirms the government's commitment to a vibrant media landscape, focusing on advancing shared values between the government and the media stakeholders.
The president thought that it is important that he also lies with them. They had a very frank conversation about the future, especially of the newspaper industry, and how government can support. And he also solicited for the cooperation of all media practitioners towards the achievement, especially of the Tinubu agenda. And members of the MPN are also very forthcoming. They've heard from the president firsthand. They will go back, look at it, and see how they can give further support to Mr. President in the actualization of his dream of making Nigeria a very prosperous nation.
President Tinubu also discusses measures to alleviate festive season travel costs, including possible waivers for air, road, and rail operators. He pledges to reduce the price of liquefied petroleum gas, also emphasizing his administration's focus on economic revitalization. Adesoa Omoruan, Arise News.
Well, Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us to explore President Tinubu's commitment and potential measures to enhance press freedom and support media business growth in Nigeria. Good afternoon and welcome to Newsday, Mr. Sobowale.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here as usual.
Of course, pleasure to have you. But what practical steps would you like to see regarding the implementation of this pledge?
Well, given his background and given the fact that the election has just come and gone, and we all know the role the media played, either for and against his election. Like he said there, said those of you who support me and those who have supported me, that you are all welcome. But then you see, press freedom is an ongoing thing. And in Nigeria, let me state this categorically. I think we have press freedom. But what the MPN has come to do now is to seek economic protection for their industry to continually be able to print and circulate. But they all are aware that they are in for competition from technology and from social media and the emergent new readership in the new world. But then they have all adapted. Almost all of them have online publications, which means they have not been rigid or frigid in their sticking to newsprint. Because I think eventually newsprint will not be extinct because people will still want to have access to what they can keep physically, unlike what you have digitally. But then they have to face the competition. And when we talk of press freedom, it requires integrity on both the part of government and the part of the media itself. You see, you must admit that honest, fact-based journalism is being supplanted or being outwitted and competitively by social media. Because nowadays, you do not need to buy a newspaper to get news. You can stay in your house and get the news. The young can get news, the old can get news. And literally, you are talking of MPN made up of newsprint publishers, but there are millions of quasi publishers now, on many platforms of many views. But I think what I will dwell on this media freedom is media responsibility. See, the freedom must go along pari passu with responsibility and integrity of news. I am a stickler for objectivity. I was brought up to verify news before you put it out. Because the restraints or the constraints that are there, the laws of libel and sedition. If you violate that, the law is very clear. But freedom itself is not absolute. As a lecturer of mine used to tell me that your freedom ends where my nose begins. Nobody has absolute freedom. That is why the checks of sedition are there. Libel, if you print it, that's libel, and if you do it verbally, you are taken up at the same time. But the press magnates that I have seen there, what they have come for is not reconciliation after election. It's protection for their industry. The onus is on them. Because, you see, I must concede this. The traditional media, the newspapers, invariably verify facts. They cling to the old dictum of journalism that you must verify before you publish. But you see, they are being sidetracked or outflanked by the social media. And you know the lot of the things that go on in social media. And then political leaders like the president all over the world, he has not reacted to the press. He's compliant with the press. He has not controlled. But if you look back, the advent of technology and big tech, people like Trump, the US, branded major news outlets that we all worship, branded them fake news. And that started the war that has not ended. The same thing with Netanyahu. He has a case. That's why before this war in Gaza started, they were demonstrating in their thousands in Tel Aviv against him because they said they wanted to change the law and then supplant freedom of the press by granting some outlets to some media houses so that they're giving favorable coverage. In Europe too, they are there. The government in Hungary, even the government that was outside in the election in Poland now, you get me? Press freedom was one of the things that galvanized people against them. But in Nigeria, I think we have a vibrant press. You all know that. You all know what transpired during the election, during the campaigns.
Oh, yeah.
You all know what transpired all the way to the Supreme Court. But we are still here. That's the beauty of democracy. I concede that we have press freedom in Nigeria, whether anybody likes it or not. And we should be grateful to that. It's not because of anybody, but it is our nature. It is our nature. See the way the Kanu case is going. See the way all the cases in courts are going. Even with the judiciary. The judiciary is being monitored by the media. The fourth estate of the realm. That is the duty of the press in guaranteeing press freedom and in the process guaranteeing democracy. But then the freedom ends where my nose begins. Yes.
Mr. Dayo Sobowale, today they've done me the great injustice of not being able to say, I agree with you fully. It must be Christmas. Thank you so much. It's great for us to be able to be on the same side of the table. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have.